Welcome to another episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Stephen Gillen. How you doing, man?
Hi, Bill. How are you doing? Big hello to everyone out there too.
What would be your typical day if you're not out doing robberies? Would you plan them during the day?
It's a life of organized crime, to be honest with you, Bill. We're involved in all kinds of things. It's about money, right? And them days for that kind of stuff, it's about greed, and of course we ran all the faces, we call them over here, all the names of the day. I would know everyone in all different parts of London, like you would maybe in New York or, Philadelphia or Boston or Connecticut and further afield. So we was really into the rackets, really. We'd be into anything. I mean, that's the truth. I don't want to go into a litany of criminality, but all of it, the counterfeiting, the armed robbery, the whole 9 yards, the whole bit. Whatever was working was safe, and was worth was worth it to be doing and who to do it with, But it's a hard game. This life, it's wrong. It's wrong. And, it's going to force you to do things that's wrong and be with people who are wrong. So there are not good endings in a life like this.
Definitely not. So, you know how the New York mob is ran. How is organized crime ran in London? Is it a similar operation, the way the structure is of the criminal organizations out there in London, or are they different than the way it is in New York?
In many ways it is. In the loose associations of guys coming together for a criminal enterprise, of course it is. Because, it's a very kind of family-orientated thing, and we would come up, we would be known, but you may have went to school with some of these guys, or you may have done some work with them, and he's so-and-so's brother, and his uncle or his father so-and-so. So everyone knows everyone, and it's more loosely connected in the sense there's no burning the saint or the blood oath.
Yeah, but is there a boss? Like, is there a main boss that they kick up money to, pay tribute to?
In ways there are, because what happens is these gangs, they come up, they get very successful. It's, the dynamics within them. There's usually someone that always rises, but when they get really, really successful, because you have to come up with the money, Bill, what it's like. The money is the thing, and then you can do more, be more, have more control. Then, of course, a boss in a hierarchy always shows itself quicker, sooner rather than later. So, yeah, of course there is. And it's exactly the same. It has to be said. The only difference is they wouldn't be burning the same. But in some instances, there would be certain guys would have a certain role, like a capo or whatever, they'd be in charge of certain areas or whatever. So it's the same thing.
So do they try to get involved with the industry, such as the unions and stuff like that out there in London too?
It's different, but it's the same. We don't really have unions here as such, the way the structure is, but of course it's business led, but it has to be said, it's the same thing. And what I've learned is, look, there are different kinds of gangs and different kinds of gangsters and different kinds of mobsters. But a true kind of gangster and mobster, if you want to talk, you've got your street guys who are the violent guys who go out and do that stuff, the rough stuff. But then you've got the other ones who are the brains, the kind of business people, and they're there too. And I suppose if you're looking for the real ones who can do both, then this is something else, right? This is what I've learned.
Yeah, the ones that could direct traffic and jump in the car and drive it too.
They do both. And they're the one. They're the bosses. They're the bosses. In my experience, they're the ones who become bosses because they have the acumen and they have the fierceness, right?
Yeah. So I was in and out of prison for a lot of years, and I thought my life would never stop. I thought it was a constant cycle. I thought I would die in prison. So did you think the same way? And when did you know that you wanted to change your life?
It's funny you say that, Bill, because you know what? It was Desperate. Desperate is the word. If someone asked me to put it in one word, I'd say desperate. I find it really easy because it was desperate. I mean, I didn't think I would get out of there. I think I'll be killed or I'd kill someone else, or, you know, there was a lot of violence in there, right?
Yeah.
Of course, there's nowhere to go in there. You have to face it, right? And you go round and round with it, right?
You have no choice. Like you can't.
This is the environment, right? I mean, you know, I see a couple of guys in there killed in front of me, right? Literally in front of me there, right? So, you know, I've seen this a few times, and in there, it's a very violent place, as you know, when it comes, right?
Yeah.
So these are terrible places to have to live, right? You know, and go through, right? You know, that's my experience. So, you know, I come out of that, but you know, I was really entrenched in the criminality and that lifestyle for so long, which is one of the things that's wonderful, you know, about me today, and shows that you know, being so entrenched in it all the way through, you know, to such, you know, a high level as well, but to be able to completely do a 360 on my life, it is possible. Of course it is. People are doing it all the time, you know, and I'm living history of that, Bill. You know, so are you.
Yeah, I was in prison. I was on the street, homeless, and I'm a world away from where I was, and I wouldn't change it for anything. You know, my goal is to just help people and be successful in my ventures. And so on your last prison sentence, what was that like? Because I found myself trying to do better when I was in prison. And I know that's a hard thing to do because it's a violent place, like you said, and people they don't want to do good in there. A lot of people don't, not all of them, but a lot of people in there are doing the wrong thing. And it's kind of hard to stay out of trouble when you're in there. So, did you make the decision to change your life when you were in prison, or did you get out and then start getting used to?
Yeah, it was tough for me because even when I come out, you know, I remember that day they made up the prison service, they made up this big like thing about, you know, I wasn't meant to be released. That was just to hold me. So I wasn't released in the morning where I should have been. I was released in the evening when the courts was coming in, Bill. And that's because they had an observation squad out there waiting for me because they're getting the team ready, right? They're waiting for time. So it was fucked up, you know, it really was. It was like I'd done 12 years, all of that, big chunk of my life, a living hell. I went through one door into another outside, but then it was like them 12 years had disappeared and I was right back at where I started before. It was horrendous. It really was. So I had to, you know, I had a lot of attention and stuff, you know, and of course I had to, you know, I had to get my life together, you know, and after doing so long, people have to understand that it can take you a few years to get into a long-term sentence like that, but it can take you a couple of years, and it does at the other end, to get into normal living, right?
Yeah, you get institutionalized. Thank God I never got that far, but I know people who have. Like I've known people who have done crazy things once they were released just to go back to prison, and that's crazy. I just because they can't live without the structure in their life, you know. So I want to talk about some of the things you have coming out, like your book and your the crime files and all this stuff that you have going on. How did you get involved with all that once you were released from prison? Like what were the steps you took to get involved and be a productive member of society?
I really built my life again, brick by brick, Bill. Really, I had to. I remember you know, I had all kinds of problems, you know, even addiction, right? You know, and I went into a place, you know, and I can remember, you know, the guy was still friends now. He owned the place in there, and he said, "Steve, you only need to change one thing." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Everything."
Yeah.
You know, but that stuck with me, right? You know, because that's the succinct answer. I had to change everything. I had to, in many ways, be the opposite of what I was, right? You know, I had to do a lot of work. I had to do a lot of giving. I done a lot of voluntary work. I didn't have no money or stuff like that. I had to learn about me. I had to learn about life. I had to learn actually what I liked, what I didn't like. I had to learn all of that stuff. I had to learn how to live. I had to take it down from basics. I had some true people in my life. Of course, they was my support and my guidance, and my family in them days. They had some companies, lorries and different stuff. So I was lucky enough. I went to work with them. I started at the bottom. I was given a harder road because my family are like that. I wasn't given an easier road, right? But I had the opportunity, but I had to take it. I had to work for it. I had to prove it. So I went from, laborer to supervisor, to running my own contracts. Then I left the family to having my own business within 18 months. That was the start for me.
18 months from getting out of prison, you did all that?
Well, it was, I had about 9 months before that sorting myself out, Bill. But then when I went to work, I was ready for work. I got my head down. I had to learn how to be a normal guy. It was good for me. Be humble, and learn and start from the bottom. I had to start from the bottom, But I had to drive, and I was happy to do stuff, and I recreate my life, and that was the start. That was the start of me. That was the start for me.
So when is this book? Is this book's already released? Is that correct?
Yeah, the Monkey Puzzle Tree, Bill, has been out a year. Now it's gonna be a movie, that. It's been optioned to be a movie, right?
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. A major movie. It's got a big budget. We've got the script and everything. We're going to be filming it, a lot of it in the studio in Hollywood, right? Next year. So it's quite a story, believe you me. It's all over the press, and it has been, for a year now.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on all that, man. It's really incredible. I know you have your own. Is it an app, or you go on the TV and you can get it on Prime or something, right?
Yeah, we have the Stephen Gillen crime files. This is in association with Film Vault and Media Eye Digital. So I signed a worldwide TV deal with Film Vault, who's a global aggregate. That's a distributor of TV, film content. We've been building this now, for 9 months. Of course, I've got a YouTube channel. This is a smaller thing. I've interviewed a lot of the top mob guys. We do a lot of work. I'm going into the Russian mafia now, and we've got some unbelievable documentaries and series and different stuff now on the slate. We're going to be filming this year, so we're live. We've just recently built and finished our own studio with offices and all that. We put a lot of money in there and got that right because of the level we need to film at. So this is going to be exciting. So we're already on Roku TV, other digital platforms, Fimto and all that. We just went live on Amazon Fire TV to another 50 million audience just before Christmas. But in the next 6 to 9 months, we've got a roadmap, and this is contracted, obviously, where we're going to be migrating to many of the main top TV platforms like Sony, Sky, Netflix, Apple TV, Samsung TV. There's going to be a lot of work and a lot of stuff, but it's very exciting because we're already streaming worldwide.
That's incredible, man. To go from where you've been and go from being in prison and being the kid with the bag going across the ocean, to being where you are now, it's incredible. And I definitely commend you for your work, man.
Listen, thank you, really thank you. And yeah, you have to work at it, Life is challenging anyway. What is important is that you sort yourself out, you work hard at it, you be honest, and you get good people around you. The people in your life are very, very important, Bill.
Yeah, definitely. I hear it all the time. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
I'll show you who you are. You
Yeah.
know, my old mother used to say that. Do you know what? She's so, she's so right. She's so right. Yeah, so true.
Yeah, it's true. My mother used to say, "You're going to get in some trouble that I can't help you out of." And she was right. I'm like, "Mom, help me." And she couldn't do anything. It's too late. You know Joey Pyle, right?
Yeah, I know Joe very well. I mean, I knew older Joe, bless his soul.
Yeah.
I knew Joe very, very well, and I know younger Joe too. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had Junior on my show. Shout out to Joey Pyle.
Yeah, shout out to Joey. They was, his father. He was a class act. He was a very, very respected man. He was a good friend of mine, and young Joe the same.
So who are some of the people that you have interviewed on your show? I know that there's some big names.
God, I got some billionaires on there that I've done. Michael Francis, Bobby Louisi, John Eli, Anthony Arturala, people like that. There's a lot on there, really.
Yeah, I have a ton too, and I have a lot more coming. And I definitely want to have you back on in the future, and we could collaborate on some stuff. And I'm going to put your link in the description for the people. And where can they buy your book? Is it on Amazon?
They can get the book on Amazon, Bill, or anywhere like that. If they want a signed copy, and my signature means anything to them, they can go to my personal site. There's a ton of free stuff on there as well. It's www.stephengillen.com. But look, we'll put some links underneath, and go into the Crime Files, guys, on the TV and different stuff. We're going to be bringing a lot of really exclusive, highly produced content on there, and some really cool stuff, Bill.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you taking the time for me, and looking forward to having you on in the future. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. Until next time, thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks for having me on.